Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David and this is a Magic Review. Hey, today we're going to look at the Jekyll and Hyde book test. This was an effect that was released from Scott Olgard and Luke Jonas, and it's published by Olgard Magic. Alright, so that was the Jekyll and Hyde book test. What I like about this is I was able to do one of the effects straight out of the box. I mean, just opening it up, looking at the instructions really quick, grabbing the simplest, easiest one to do, I was able to immediately do the effect, no problem, and it worked really well. And this is exactly the way a book test should look. All right, so a couple of questions we always ask about all of our magic products, the first of which is, what's in the box? All right, so what's in the box? You're getting the Jekyll and Hyde book. This is a readable book. This is an examinable book. This is the actual story, front to cover, all through. There's no problems handing this out or worrying that your spectator might catch on that this is some sort of a magical gimmick. Okay, so you're getting this book, and then you're getting the written instructions. The written instructions are 46 pages long, and it's fully in depth with both photographs and charts, so that you can get the most out of this possible and just greatly improve any book test that you're already doing in your routines. Is it what I thought? It's more than what I thought. I didn't realize how much they were packing into this effect, and it really is a routine in and of itself. You could do an entire stage routine with the same spectator or multiple spectators using this book, and I think what you're getting here for your money is just insane. Anybody who's been looking for the ultimate book test or the perfect book test, I think you found it right here. Can it be inspected? Like I just said, the Jekyll and Hyde book, it reads like a real book from page to page, from cover to cover. I would personally, I would read the actual book if you were the performer. You want to be able to stand up on stage and act like this is a book that you've read or that has some sort of meaning to you. Don't just say, hey, I just grabbed a random book off my bookshelf. I mean, granted, it looks like a real book that could be on your bookshelf, but you want to make it believable. There needs to be a reason why you're picking this book. So read the book, the real book, and then you'll have some sort of a better knowledge about this book when you're performing. You'll be able to give a better overview, maybe be able to talk about what you like about it, what resonates with you. Second, I would also weather this book. Now, what weathering means is it means that you're going to make this book look like a book that you've actually read. And I realize this is a very expensive book, it's a very expensive prop, but you don't want to make it look like it was a very expensive prop. I think your tendency is going to be to keep this book in a plastic bag and preserve it and make it look pristine and careful because you're worried about the money that you spent on it. You need to make this look like a $5 book that you don't care about. All right, and so that's going to be, I think, an issue with some people because of the amount of money that this costs. But you're going to want to break the spine. I think you're going to want to take some of these edges and bend them back and roll them and make the little white marks on them. I think you might want to even water stain a couple pages. I definitely think you want to lay this open a couple times overnight, or lay a brick on it a couple times. Fold maybe a corner back on the front cover and get a nice white crease in it. Maybe leave it in your car and let the sun and the heat kind of bake it a little bit. You're going to want to make this book look like it's a real book, a book you read, a book that could pass an inspection. You don't want it to look like a brand new magic prop, okay? The Scott Olgard and Luke Jonas went through a lot of work to make this look like a real book, but I think the rest of it's going to be up to you to make it look like an actual book that you've read. All right, so what are the overall quality and production value of the instructions? The instructions are top notch. Like I said, it's 46 pages, gives you everything you need. It's filled with pictures and photos, and just it's going to give you more than enough information to make this into a really cool routine. Are these products well made? Absolutely. This is a real book. I mean, if you went down to Barnes & Noble and went to the section where all the different books are for school, this definitely looks like one of those $5 novels you'd pick up for a high school or a college class, and so you're not going to have any issues with this being examinable or looking like an actual real book. All right, so how much practice does this require? A lot. There's a lot of memory work in this. Anybody who's done a book test knows that there's usually some charts and some things that you need to remember in your head. There's usually some keywords, there's usually some number clues, and all of that is built into this book. I think the more you spend memorizing how to do this trick, the better it will be. I think if you do just like I did and pull out of the box and do the single trick that's easy, I think you're not getting your money's worth. You want to be able to really sit down with this book and spend some serious time with it. Probably even read this prompt from cover to cover, just so that when you say, I've read this book from cover to cover, you're not lying, and you really spent the time that it's going to take to make this trick effective. I mean, for instance, there's a trick in this where you recite the entire first line from any page. There's another trick in here where you give details of a certain paragraph. There's another trick where you know the word on any one page of this entire book. There's another trick where you associate the spectator's memories, like a memory that they have surrounding one of the objects that's in this book. There's a drawing duplication, and then there's another one where they start to read a page and then you can instantly tell them what page they're on. So there's a lot of memory work in this, and personally, I'm really poor at memory work, so for me that's kind of a disadvantage. And so I would just warn you, just let you know that there is memory work involved, and the more you want to do this trick, the better you want to do this trick, it'll just mean there's that much more memory work to do. How much setup and reset is there? The book does all the work for you, so there's virtually none, other than the fact that you need to do your memory work ahead of time. All right, so what are the positives for this? Positives for this, I've read a lot of book tests. I own a lot of book tests. This is easily the best book test I've ever seen. The book does all the work for you. It looks like a real book. It's a familiar title that most people recognize, and I think, yeah, this is the best book test. And if you're looking for the best one, if you're looking for the perfect one, this is it. All right, so what are the negatives? We say there's negatives with every magic trick. These are just the negatives that I have seen. These don't have to be the negatives that you see. The first of which is the cover. This isn't a recognizable cover for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. In fact, it's actually the poster for Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And so I think most people would recognize the cover from that. Oftentimes in the bookstores you find books that have familiar posters associated with old books, and that's kind of what you have here. It's just a little tiny discrepancy that I saw, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. All right, so is it worth your money? It's $110. This is a $110 effect. Is it worth your money? Absolutely. That is nothing to pay for the amount of magic that you're getting in this. The fact that you can do an entire routine with just this one prop. The fact that you would actually come across as looking like a real mentalist. The benefits of that greatly outweigh the cost of this, and I think this is definitely worth your money. All right, so who would like this? Mentalists, stage magicians, working professionals, I think would really love the Jekyll and Hyde book test. All right, so that is the Jekyll and Hyde book test from Scott Olgard and Luke Jonas. This was provided for us by the generous people down at Murphy's Magic Supplies, and if you'd like to purchase your own, you can find it at one of your favorite Murphy's Magic suppliers. Thanks, bye.